action there, not good. Not good at all. He's literally jetted off. Granit Xhaka, here he goes. Granit Xhaka, here he goes.
Hello and welcome back to the channel Guna from the East. We are underway with one of the most boring and melancholy periods of a football fan's life, the international break. But that has given us some time to put our thinking hats on, and today we've got a very interesting topic for you guys. Before we begin, I'd like to give a small preview. For those of you who watched the Arsenal versus Brentford game, we absolutely smashed them 3-0. Yeah, we were dominant in all aspects of the game, attack, defense, and midfield. We didn't give them an inch. Officially, the man of the match was Gabriel Jesus, but I think most fans will agree with me. Granit Xhaka, our ex-captain, our current vice-captain, deserved to be the man of the match. So, to discuss Granit Xhaka's misfortunes and his current fortunes, I would say I have a very special guest with me, SK Guna 20. Let me tell you something about SK Guna 20. He's not only just a guest or someone I know, he's my cousin, and one of the reasons that why I'm supporting Arsenal, he introduced them to me. So what's up, bud? How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm great.
Just one question for you. Do you regret that decision that you took 10 years back or 12 years back?
I don't know.
In a roller coaster.
I think I would, man, seeing some of the losses in the finals or something. But no, I'm kidding, man. The amazing part of being an Arsenal fan is you've not won. I haven't seen the club win a title anytime. So it's going to be special for those who have always seen their team winning. I think it's just going to be like another day for them, or it's just going to
Just
be.
to clarify, when you say title, it's the Premier League title. We won a few.
I mean, of course, the Premier League title. I hope so. Before my 50th birthday, I can see that. Hopefully.
50th birthday.
I mean, you can't really.
If I say that, we can still sort of say that's fine. But for you, 50 is a long way.
I know, man. But it's what can you say? It's part of being an Arsenal fan. It's the hope that kills you. So
talking about this international break, I mean, who gives a shit about the Nations League or these friendlies? I mean, who keeps these matches at this time of the season? Yeah? I mean, it's so boring. I mean, can we get back to the real football, the Premier League?
I mean, absolutely. For those international fans that are watching, I think even you guys are going to agree, man. With the World Cup in the way, we didn't really need this break. But the only amazing thing I think that stood out to me was the charity game. I think between the YouTube Shorts team and I think between the
Sidemen.
Between the YouTube Shorts and the Sidemen team, and that was, I think, pretty amazing. You saw a lot of amazing moments. I think one team won 7-8, so that was fun. I watched that. Did you get a chance to catch up on that?
No, unfortunately, I could not watch that, but heard a lot about it on Twitter. So it seemed like great fun. Yeah.
Absolutely, it was. So coming to the topic, the man of the moment, let's talk something about Granit Xhaka. So, I mean, what a roller coaster of a career till now Granit Xhaka has had with Arsenal. We bought him in 2016 for 35 million, and he started off well. He scored a banger against Hull City. And then there's been an absolute compilation of complete bozo, brain-dead moments after that. The red cards, the absolutely crazy tackles where we didn't need them. And of course, the video that we showed you, the altercation that he had with the fans, he completely lost trust with the fans. People wanted him out. Somehow he still stayed. He lost this captaincy apart from his performances. Every manager has picked him till now, and now the tides have finally turned. We could see after the Brentford game, the fans were actually praising and singing his name. What a complete turnaround. So what do you think? What are your initial thoughts?
So yeah, I mean, Xhaka, I mean, don't think there's been another player who's sort of divided opinions amongst fans so much. I mean, you either hate him or you love him, really. I mean, I think there are more fans who hate him earlier on, but that's changed to love now mostly. So that's good. But yeah, I think as you said, I mean, when we bought him in from Mönchengladbach, I was really optimistic because his long range passing I thought would make a really big difference to us. But I think somewhere each manager never really utilized him in the right position. I feel. I mean, he needed someone like a party next to him. I mean, we did not have that for so many years, but now I think finally Arteta seems to have got the key in terms of where we need to utilize him in the position in the squad really. So I think that's what's showing this season as well.
Absolutely, we're going to get more into that. His change of position, and I personally believe that yes, Granit Xhaka did play a huge role, but Mikel Arteta has had, I think, one of the biggest hands in this revival. And was he misunderstood? Also, I think there are two parts of the coin you can say. I think the fans were also absolutely right. You cannot deny the absolute brain dead moments. Unnecessary tackles and fouls that he has done, which led to people wanting him out of the club. But hats off to Arteta to rebuild his confidence. Not really rebuild his confidence. I think he already has a lot of confidence, but to change the tactics which diminishes his negatives and which allows him to play to his strengths, which is basically box to box. And Wenger also said that he didn't see him as a defensive midfielder. I think that is one of the main issues that Xhaka has, is not to leave him alone one-on-one in those one-on-one situations. We'll get more into that. So,
Yeah, I mean, going back to that Crystal Palace game, I mean, when he was booed off, and I honestly felt like we would never see him playing for Arsenal again. Really, I mean, the equation with the fans was so low. I mean, there seemed to be no way back from there. But I mean, credit to him. Actually, I think just shows his mentality that he was ready to even stick at that time and make a sort of a last stand and see how it works out even after such a situation. So, I mean, you mentioned that he's had so many bad moments, but I think it's sort of a bit of both actually. I think he's built that reputation in the league. I mean, even the refs sort of look for guarding Xhaka whenever they get an opportunity. Really.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, so I think he's been a bit unlucky in that way as well. But yeah, definitely. I mean, he's had his horror moments. No one can argue about that. Yeah.
I mean, he's become a meme. Anytime you see a rash tackle and they don't get carded, it's like, what if it had been Xhaka, he would have been sent to the gulag. What if it had been Xhaka, he would have been deported off the country. I mean, it's funny. Uh, that's a different topic, I think, definitely, that we can pick up one day. Why the refs hate Arsenal so much? What can we do to win back the refs in our decision? There's some absolutely crazy decisions. Some recently that comes to mind that I could not believe was the Martinelli double yellow, where against Wolves he got two yellows for the same for the first foul, and then the referee gave a foul. He went in, committed another foul. He gave another yellow card. I mean, it's never happened like that before. There are many other decisions. I think. What Edu, can
So, I
you?
mean,
Yeah.
as Arsenal fans, we definitely feel there's a bias, but I mean, I think it's just that the referees are not good enough. Basically, they are so inconsistent. I mean, if you get that one decision in a match, you'll get a totally different decision for the same situation in a different match. So, I mean, it's a bit of a question mark whether it's a bias against Arsenal or just the refs are not good enough. Basically, I mean, I
Uh,
personally feel it's the latter, more of the latter. But yeah, I think there's some grounds for Arsenal fans to be peeved that it's
yeah.
there's a lot of bias by the refs. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely concur with that. But there are some moments I think that we've also, not played to our advantage, as you can say about what I mean to say is that when Arsene Wenger, he criticized the English refs, saying that none of them are good enough to go to the World Cup. Mikel Arteta recently, he had an outburst. I would say Thomas Tuchel also, before he got sacked, he had an outburst, and Chelsea fans would say the same thing, that the refs have been biased towards them. So I don't know, man. I think we should take some steps to repair. We should not criticize them or something. Just take it up on the chin. I don't know. Something behind the scenes has to be done. Have we insulted them? What have we done? I mean, that's a different
I
topic
think
for another
Arteta
day.
actually did that last season. I think he had some sort of meeting with the refs, just showing the different inconsistencies in the decisions.
Yeah.
I think maybe we saw that some impact of that in the short term, but I mean, definitely long term. I mean, it still feels like the refs have some sort of bias or inconsistency there.
I mean, it's crazy. you get the decision wrong in real time. I can agree, but after looking at VAR, and even at some points VAR isn't even referred to. So that leaves a lot of moments of frustration, I believe. But yeah, we'll get to that. I think that links to Granit Xhaka with these referees is because definitely there is a relationship of the referees with Granit Xhaka in terms of Xhaka being in their bad books. So yeah, that has been a part of his story with Arsenal. So now another interesting thing, a huge part of his revival with Arsenal and is mending the relationship with the Arsenal fans that has recently occurred. He gave a very insightful interview. So let's look at some what he said. Yeah. So speaking to the Players Tribune, let me just keep it brief. Xhaka said, firstly, I want to make it very clear that he loves Arsenal. I always did, and I still will do, and I will give everything for this club until the day I leave. I also know that some people do not like me. This is part of football, and I get it. But that day, this is crucial, I think, about that specific day. But that day against Crystal Palace, things went over the line. We had been 2-0 up. They made it 2-2, and then I was taken off after about an hour. I had barely begun to move, and when I heard the boos. So I think that's what he's talking about. That previous to this situation, I think he had received a lot of hate on social media. He had posted a photo, of both of his daughter, I think, and obviously that is an unacceptable situation. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think this was sort of a culmination of a lot of things happening in that season actually. I mean, the atmosphere was really toxic at the Emirates during that season. I mean, we were not doing well. I mean, and Xhaka was definitely at the front of the criticism. Basically, he was at the front of the firing line. I mean, fans were really going for his head. I mean, but I mean, talking about the abuse. I mean, definitely things went over the line there. I mean, as he says, I mean, boos or criticizing a player is fine, but you cannot sort of abuse their family or children. Basically, I mean, that's
Absolutely. I mean, I'm reading the later part of the quotes. I was shocked. I think that yeah, definitely abuse is not warranted. But in this situation, we like you said, it was 2-2 up, and we were in desperate need of a goal. We were fighting for Champions League place, and he was substituted and he was walking. So Xhaka really didn't help that situation. And I remember Torreira also looking absolutely devastated looking at this, and that was, I think, the moment which ended his Arsenal career. That is also a topic for a different day. But yeah,
I think it was a lot of frustration. I mean, just the way he was playing, and I think the boost, I mean, made it even worse at that moment, really. And I mean, so yeah, I mean, as I said, I think honestly, I felt like this was his last game in an Arsenal shirt.
yeah,
But I think things changed for the better, which none of us expected on.
yeah, he's like the Undertaker, man. He keeps coming back. He keeps coming back. You, you, no manager, like I said, no manager that he's played under at Arsenal has dropped him. It's crazy. In spite of losing the captaincy, they still played him. There's got to be something that the managers know that the fans don't know. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely he has some positives in terms of following the instructions, tactically making sure that he's in the right position. I think he definitely has a lot of positives, but it's just the negatives which get highlighted more, I think, for Xhaka.
yeah. So now let's talk a little bit about the redemption arc. So like I previously mentioned, I think you have to give Arteta a huge shout out for the way he handled his things. And yeah, these are the later parts of the quotes, which we'll speak about that. So when Mikel was appointed in December, Xhaka says, I told him that I wanted to leave. He understood completely. We had a second chat a few days later, and when I went in, I had talked it through with my wife. Our suitcases were literally placed by the door. When I have made a decision like that, it is very difficult to change my mind. But then Mikel began to talk about how I was a big part of his plans. I liked his warmth. He was honest, straight, clear plans. I felt I could trust him. He told me to give him 6 months to prove me wrong, and then if I still wanted to leave, no problem. Lastly, he says, normally I spend a lot of time making the decisions. I talk to everyone around me. I weigh up the pros and cons, but that day I broke my own rules. I told Mikel, okay. I mean, this is really, it shows his mentality. It definitely gives a very feel good factor that he's not one of the players that when things goes down, he'll throw away his tools and he'll make a fuss. He said that he'll decide to stay, and like I said, Arteta played a huge part. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think Arteta, I mean, when he came in, he gave a clean slate to each one of them. Really, I mean, even Ozil was in a sort of a difficult situation with Emery when Emery left. So when Arteta came in, he specifically mentioned that I would like to give every player clean slate. So I think even Xhaka, I mean, just went through that procedure. I mean, and you got to give credit to Xhaka. I mean, just shows his mentality that, I mean, he sort shows his love as well for Arsenal. I mean, he did not want to go out on a bad note. I think that's important for him. I think so, and it shows how strong-willed he is to make sure that, I mean, he comes back from such a situation where, I mean, you cannot get lower than that really. I mean, but he had that willpower to make sure that he comes back from that situation.
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of crazy bad moments under Arteta as well. The Liverpool red card, first thing that comes to mind. The City red card also. It says that he told him to give him 6 months. So it seems like Arteta really wanted him. Don't you think he had something cooking up in terms of he thought that okay, I'll give him a more attacking role, a more that defense is not really part of his game.
Yeah, I think Xhaka is like a typical Arteta player actually. I mean, you know he's going to give you 100% every time he goes out there. He might not have the physical attributes sometimes, or he has some weaknesses in his game, but definitely when he goes out there, he will give you 100%.
He has the non-negotiables, doesn't he? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And Arteta he's made a lot of decisions where initially people have doubted him. His entire Arsenal career has been it starts with doubt, and then he pulls them back. Right now, I think that in the past I would say 5 to 6 years, the atmosphere at Arsenal, the positivity, obviously we're sitting at top of the table, but all the other things, the Louis Dunford songs, the fans being united, there's not a lot of arguments going on, everybody's pushing in the same direction. It all stems from this sort of I mean, they've obviously made correct decisions between Arteta, Edu, and the upper management. Also, I think that the owners also as well, people are not abusing or criticizing the owners as that much as well. They did invest, and I hope they keep investing. So definitely,
Arteta, yeah, definitely. I mean, the culture change has been the most important thing
Absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
Arteta has brought about. I mean, when Emery was about to leave, it was all over the place at Emirates, really. I mean, there was fear of even relegation at that time. So the turnaround, I mean, obviously, it's not been easy with making so many changes in the squad. But definitely, Arteta, you need to give credit to Edu, Arteta, and others. And as you said, the owners have backed them. I mean, without giving that time to them, it would not have been possible, really.
We really back our managers. I don't think any other club after that run that we had last season.
I mean, if it was
yeah.
Chelsea, Arteta would have been gone 6 months or not even that much.
Arteta would have, I mean, he would have been history long ago, man. I mean, they couldn't even stick with Thomas Tuchel after winning a Champions League. I mean, I don't know what to say. So I think that shows a difference of cultures in the club, but it's great. It's great to see. This is like an underdog story. You know that you can't really help but cheer for it. So yeah, I mean these quotes are really encouraging, and I hope this pushes Xhaka to the next level, even higher level than he has been consistently performing this season. So like we spoke about this change in tactics by Arteta. This thing, something that when I saw this, I didn't really realize that he had scored only one goal in the past 3 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers clearly show what this change in position or role in the team has done to his game, or his attacking game, basically. I mean, if you see, he's already got more goals and assists than he did in the past 3 seasons. So, I mean, like we've only played 7 games this season. It just shows the frame of mind he's in at the moment, and that role change has definitely helped him in terms of his attacking game.
Absolutely. As you can see that he's already matched his tally of one goal, and he scored. He already has one more assist, compared to the same time, and in only 7 appearances. I would definitely say he has. In terms of the first 7 games that we've played, he has been our best player. People would argue because they see, Gabriel Jesus as the new toy, but I think as phenomenal as he has been, don't get me wrong, there are some moments where he has missed some opportunities to score. But Xhaka, in terms of not only attack, in terms of keeping possession, and also in terms of his defensive responsibilities, even though they have changed a little bit, but he has been phenomenal, man. He's played, he seems like he's fit to play every game. That's not an issue with the current injury issues that we are going on with Partey and Tierney. I don't have to say much more on that, but what
Yeah,
a start to the season he's had.
numbers. Yeah, I mean the numbers are there, but the most, I mean, the interesting thing is I've never seen Xhaka run so fast. I mean, he seems like he's got a new lease of life this season. I mean, he's
Yes.
all over the pitch. I mean, you see him in the opposition box, then the next moment you'll see him blocking shots in our own box. I mean, he's going up and down like a rabbit these days.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's definitely not the quickest. But speaking about his position on the pitch, we've got another thing. Now, when I first looked at this, it just, I mean, you really have to look, into it to see the differences. But once you concentrate on it, you see that the gradual change in tactics that has
Yeah,
been given to Arteta. So, would you like to say a little bit more about this?
yeah, I think this shows the interesting sort of gradual change in his role, which has happened over the past 3 seasons. If you see 2021, he was more of the deep lying position that he used to play, where he used to be the sort of the playmaker from deep and also cover the left back position from there. I mean, with Tierney bobbing forward, he needed to make sure that he covered the left back position. But slowly from 2020, 21, 22, I think we saw him moving up higher up the pitch. And I think you saw him actually sort of interchanging with Tierney a lot. You saw him wide on the touchline, then you saw him in between in the midfield going towards the box. But yeah, and this season it's been sort of the end of the project of changing his role, really. I mean, if you see with Zinchenko coming in, that's helped him to move forward. I mean, Zinchenko comes into that inverted left back position and he sort of plays this midfield role that Xhaka used to play earlier. And this gives Xhaka the freedom to go forward as much as possible. I mean, so yeah, that triangle between Xhaka, Zinchenko, and Martinelli seems to be working really well this season. And I think what this change in role has done is basically it's sort of negated his deficiencies, what we can say. So sort of his his lack of athleticism, which he was exposed when he was playing in the sort of defensive
Absolutely.
position. Yeah, and so this time I think with that not that much responsibility of
Yeah.
defensive work, I think we are seeing the real Xhaka this season.
Yeah, so to really, simplify it, you can say that when it comes to attack, this time the left back or the full back that is playing on the left side, either Tierney or Zinchenko is kind of waiting back and allowing Xhaka to make that run, so that he's not exposed in those 1v1 moments. And surprisingly so, when it comes to we've been absolutely, he's been underappreciated for what he can do in attack. I mean, did you see that assist against Brentford? What a
Yeah,
ball! I mean,
what a
he's
ball
not
to
really.
get. I
He's
mean,
not known for those, right? He's known for just whacking it outside the box for a screamer in the top corner. But
but
he's definitely, yeah.
he has that in his locker. I mean, from the deep position, he used to give those long balls.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, closer to the box, I mean, definitely that was a fantastic ball to Jesus. I mean, Jesus did not need to do anything else, just get his head to the ball and put it in the corner. Yeah, I mean, you cannot ask for a better ball there.
Also, I think previous seasons when he had the ball in those defensive midfielder sort of positions, there were a lot of times where other players would steal the ball away from him, and he was under a lot of pressure at that time. And
Yeah.
that has also sort of relieved his mind, given like a mentality that okay, I have people behind me to cover it up, and you can see what he can do, in terms of attacking wise. The way he's just pulling the strings, going into attack. I mean, incredible.
Yeah, definitely. I think we can hope to see more goals and assists from Xhaka this season, and he'll just see a more attacking force from him this season, just like Gundogan at City, or yeah, just one of those midfielders from City or Liverpool. I think we need to see that from him this season.
Absolutely, I think that's a very apt comparison. Moving forward, so coming to what's next now. One very important question that I had, and I think that this situation has been flipped. Uh, the end of the summer window, we were thinking about who would be the replacement signing that we would sign for Xhaka, and then suddenly after Partey's injury, who would be the replacement that we signed for Partey? Uh, I mean, right now Lakonga plays when Partey doesn't play. But who do you think should play when Xhaka doesn't play?
So I think it was not about a replacement for Xhaka as such, but definitely more competition for Xhaka. I mean, we need more depth in that position. So at the moment, I think we have Zinchenko, we have Vieira who could play there, and obviously Sambi, who's played there a couple of games in pre-season. We've not really seen him play there in the Premier League, but yeah, definitely in the pre-season we saw him playing in the Xhaka position, and I think we've heard from the coaches as well that he's impressed in that position. So we have a couple of players who can sort of fill in for him, but definitely we need a sort of more competition for him in that position because I mean, if you see, I mean, he's done really well this season. I mean, no doubt about that. But I think if we want to move to the next level, which is the city of Liverpool's of this league, I mean, we need a sort of an upgrade. I mean, we need an upgrade on Xhaka definitely. I mean, he's been fantastic, no doubt. His attitude is top notch. But when it comes to that final attacking edge that we need in the box, I think with this new role that he's taken on, I mean, we definitely can sort of look at a player who's more effective in that role than Xhaka, definitely.
Yeah, I think that one of the decisions that Arteta and Edu probably have on their minds now would be what to do with Charlie Patino. He plays in a similar position. He's had a fantastic loan spell till now. He did get injured in typical Arsenal fashion, I would say. That's that is there. But he also recently scored his goal recently. So what do you think? Do you think Arteta would bring him back, or we definitely need someone better than
Yeah, I
Patino?
think that's an interesting point. I mean, the question for Arteta and Edu would be bringing in a new player, would that hamper Patino's progress? I mean, it's just a matter of how much they rate him, really. I mean, when I saw him playing for Blackpool, I saw just one half. That's when he got injured. I mean, he was clearly the best player on the pitch, so he is clearly an insane talent. But it's just a matter of whether he can do it in the Premier League right from the start and how much that would have an impact on the team. I mean, we saw last season definitely that the lack of experience, I think, is what was the difference in the end between Spurs and us getting fourth place. So I think that's something which needs to be balanced out. I mean, do we go with the
Yes.
youth and how much of an impact that has on our results in the league? So that needs to be taken
Yeah.
into account when we think of putting in Patino in place of Xhaka.
Yes. Yes.
But he clearly has that talent, Patino.
Yeah. But I think even with Saliba, the same question was there. That is Arteta going to bring him back? He's such an exceptional talent. Why has Arteta not played him? But when you see right now, definitely Arteta made the right decision. He was going through some difficulties in his personal life, losing his mother, Saliba, and those 2 years on loan in France. I think you can't argue made him the player that he is today. I mean, the another player that has gone on to France and has had a blistering start to the season, Tavares. But I don't think that he really wants to come back. He's had a bad influence from Guendouzi, I think. Uh, he's hanging out with the wrong people.
I
Uh,
think Tavares, I think he's more suited for the left wing back role at the moment. I mean, we don't play that formation. So maybe I think that's one of the reasons he might be moved on. But clearly, I mean, he's great going forward at the moment.
yeah.
But yeah, defensively, he is shocking, not to be honest.
I know. I mean, the comments that he said after that, he wished that they had put a buy option in that. It doesn't reflect well. But Arteta has come back from so many negative situations. You can't really say with the situation that Tavares suddenly comes back and he's in the starting 11. You can't really say.
Yeah. So
Uh,
with Arteta, I think you've seen that he doesn't really throw in the youngsters till the time he feels they're ready. So I think that's an important point. But I think it's just a matter of how much they rate Patino and whether they feel he can sort of take over from Xhaka in the next year or
I think, yeah, I think that putting in youngsters, that's another very controversial topic. You saw, talks for Jason Cundy criticizing Arteta for playing a 15-year-old Ethan. I don't know what the narrative is against Arsenal. I think hating Arsenal is probably it gets the most likes. It's the most popular opinion. So these sort of outlandish things where we don't play the youth. When we play the youth, there's a problem. When we don't play the youth, there's a problem. So
I think the best way to
yeah,
handle this is just ignore this.
absolutely.
Don't give them the clicks that they're looking for.
Yeah, but after losing another youth, I think who was the winger that we lost to Chelsea?
Omar, Omar, yeah.
Omari. Yeah, I think that was a statement from from Edu and Arsenal that if you are good enough, then age won't matter. That's
Yeah, I
not an
think
issue.
that's something which Arteta has clearly mentioned. I mean, that's something that they want every player to look at Arsenal at, like, we give you the opportunity when they are good enough. I mean, if they're good enough, they are old enough to play basically. So yeah, I think that's the sort of image that Arteta wants to promote for Arsenal as well, and that's what we've had for so many years as well. So just continuing that basically.
Yeah, I mean, to turn the conversation back around to Xhaka, I just hope that he's been so consistent in terms of like in injuries. He seems like he's fit to play every game with absolutely injury crisis that is going around. I hope this doesn't curse him like that, because right now with the start that we have, we got some two huge games coming up, and what's next? Literally, what's next is a North London derby and Liverpool. If by chance we lose that and Granit Xhaka plays a significant role in that loss, or he ends up doing another bozo moment, this entire conversation will turn 180 degrees. Praying and hoping that doesn't happen. Yeah.
So there's no if in the North London derby. We will win at home. I
Yeah.
mean, we're winning consistently over the last few years. I think there's just been one draw, I think, in the last few years, but we've been winning. I think last 2 years at least, definitely we won. So I think at home we should really be looking for a win. I mean, there's no if that we lose that match. But yeah, I think what's interesting is we'll see what plans we have for Xhaka basically. I mean, who's the backup for Xhaka? Because October we have so many matches coming up. We are bound to rest him for some of the games or start
Right,
him on
right.
bench. Yeah, so I think we'll see what Arteta has planned and who will be replacing him. So we'll get to know that answer soon, I think, in October.
Yeah, and we will also be doing a preview for the North London derby. So please don't forget to tune in for that as well. We'll be talking about a lot about the Arsenal team, the Spurs team, the counter-attacking tactics of Spurs. So yeah, that's for another video. So I think, yeah, that should sum it up. Uh, it's we would love to hear from you. What do you think? Do you think that is there a possibility that Arteta gets the captaincy back? I don't think. Do you think that this revival of his would last long? Do you trust him again? Do you love him again, or do you think that he's going to go back to the same Xhaka as before? We would love to hear that from you. Please, type in your opinions in the comments. And also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. There's more such videos coming up. It would be a great help. It just takes a second, so just like, guys, don't forget to do that. So yeah, that's all from my end. So how's it was a great first video. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me here. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been fantastic to have a chat about what we love, which is Arsenal and football, and we can go on and on about it. So I think looking forward to doing more such things with you.
Absolutely, it's a blast, man, to talk about your passion, and thank you so much for coming and discussing this situation with me. So that's all, folks. That will be all. This has been a blast, and bye bye for now. This is your Guna from the East.